Welcome back to Bravo Breaking News. I am your host, Kim, aka Bravo Breaking News on Instagram. I don't know about you guys, but I have been watching The Valley and I am obsessed. I did not think that I would be this invested in this show. I mean, at first I kind of thought, oh, this is super relatable. This is too close to my real life. They're young families, having kids, having babies, living in the suburbs. I tend to like something a little bit more aspirational. But the show is definitely bringing it. But one thing we have not quite gotten into yet is the demise of Brittany and Jax's relationship. We know from the trailers that we've seen that we will be seeing this play out this season. We have not quite gotten there yet, but Brittany is spilling the tea in the media because she just did a major interview with Us Weekly and is spilling a lot of details about her and Jax's relationship, where they stand now, and whether they will be getting back together. So I'm going to get into everything you need to know, but before I dive in, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any Bravo breaking news. So of course, we all know that Jax and Brittany are currently separated. She is living separately. She's divulged a few details here and there about their relationship, but this interview with Us Weekly has so many details that we have not heard about yet. Strong Brittany Cartwright shares new details of Jax-Taylor split. He thought I would come right back. It's been over 2 months since Brittany Cartwright moved out of the LA home she shared with her husband of 4 years, Jax-Taylor. Since then, the Vanderpump Rules alum has been taking stock of their nearly decade-long relationship. I've forgiven Jax for things that I shouldn't have over the years. I stood by him no matter what. But after 9 years, that can wear on you, Cartwright 35 shares. The Kentucky native and Taylor, 44, are currently starring in the hit new reality series, The Valley, which follows the couple and their friends as they navigate parenthood and marriage. Cartwright announced the separation in February on the duo's When Reality Hits podcast. Jax and I are taking time apart, she revealed. Cartwright tells us that Taylor has yet to put in the work when it comes to fixing their marriage. Things are in his hands if he's going to fix some things in our relationship, so we will see, she says, adding that it's disappointing Taylor hasn't stepped up yet. I don't think that he thought I was actually going to leave, and it's been 3 months now, Cartwright adds. So I think that he thought I would come right back and things would go right back to how they were, and that's just not happening. She tells us she still doesn't know what the future holds for her and Taylor, but she's confident she's making the right decision for now. I feel good, she says. I feel strong, and I'm proud of myself for doing what's right for my mental health and my family. So this is kind of a high-level overview of where Brittany is now. But leave it to Us Weekly to ask the questions that we all want answers to, because this interview gets into the nitty-gritty. So let's start with the fight that began this separation. Us Weekly asked, tell us about the last big fight that led to you moving out. Did it stem from a night out with Kristen Doty? Brittany responds, that was just the last fight before I packed up my bag and I was like, I have to get out of here. We were fighting a lot. That night I went out with Kristen. I came home at 10 o'clock and he didn't come home till 4 o'clock in the morning. So he was out way later than me. I don't know if he was hungover the next morning or what, but he comes in and starts a huge fight with me. He made up a story in his head that Kristen's boyfriend Luke was reaching out to him saying we were already having issues in our marriage at that time. He gets in his head. He doesn't like to think that I'm telling people about our problems. He wants me to keep everything to myself. He doesn't want me to talk to anybody else about it. But in reality, Luke never texted him. So he just made up this big story to sort of fight with me the next morning because he was having insecurities in his own head. It was almost like the stories were being made up to start a fight with me. And it was happening numerous times. That wasn't the only time. I was like, okay, this is insane. I cannot deal with this. This is obviously a toxic situation. If you don't get help, then me and Cruz are not going to be living here right now because it didn't feel right. So this is definitely giving us a closer look into actually what went down, but it definitely seems like it is a culmination of things happening over a longer period of time where she just reached her breaking point. Us Weekly asked, you said things got worse after The Valley finished filming. How so? She responded, we'd always talked about having more kids, and he started questioning that. We weren't being intimate. We were getting on each other's nerves. I'm not perfect. I was yelling at him too. It just started getting bad. He was staying at the bar more. A lot of things piled up. They also asked the question that I've been thinking all along. Do you think being back on reality TV affected your relationship? Brittany responds with, normally I'd say no, but maybe he got a bit of a big head again. He made a lot of changes for Cruz, but he started being the old Jax again. All season long, I wanted to be with him, and then things got continually worse. And he likes to throw things in your face like I got us a show, like I wouldn't have anything without him. This, unfortunately, comes as no surprise to me. I definitely think that being back on reality TV was probably a major contributing factor to them splitting up. I mean, she says it point blank. Jax basically returned to his old self, and he will do nothing, stop at nothing, to make good TV and make it all about him. So Us Weekly then asked, "You've dealt with Jax's bad behavior for years. What makes this different?" She responds, "After having Cruz, I realized I wanted more in a relationship. I need to make sure Cruz isn't living in a house where his parents are fighting. That could be a horrible way to grow up." Then they kind of get into where Brittany and Jax stand now. Are you still in love with Jax? She says, "I am, but it's different. I was very naive in the beginning of Vanderpump Rules. I was on a TV show, being embarrassed by Jax, but I was madly in love and I just wanted to be with him. I'm different now. I can stand up for myself and not take his shit anymore. What would he have to do to get you back? There are a lot of things, but I'm not seeing enough effort from his side. He needs to go to therapy. He doesn't need to be staying out at the bar all the time. He needs to respect me more and stop taking me for granted. I was the closest person to him and was kind of like his punching bag. He was always giving me jabs. I can't deal with that for the rest of my life. Do you think he's taking the separation seriously? He tries to act like everything is okay. He thinks we can get into an argument and he can apologize and then everything's back to normal. Is there a chance you two could get back together? There's definitely a chance, but I won't waste my time to get back into a toxic situation. Now the veil has been lifted and I see how much I was always cleaning up Jax's messes. I'm thrown in the middle of all these fights and constantly forced to apologize for him in the media and to friends. It's hard. Do you have a time frame for when you'd be ready to pull the plug? We need to have a serious conversation. Every time I try to talk to him, it turns into an argument, but I'm obviously not going to do this for very long. I'm spending money on an Airbnb. I would love to be in my house. Have you guys talked about the house at all if you were to move forward with the divorce? We haven't really gotten to figure that out yet. I would love to stay there with me and Cruz and take it over. So this is almost becoming like a Tom and Ariana situation, fighting over the house. Now, I don't know where they stand. I don't know if both of their names are on the deed of the house, if they're both co-owners. I know she said that I think Jax pays the mortgage and she pays all the bills. So it does seem like they are contributing equally to their living situation. But to me, I don't know. It kind of seems like Brittany is done. It seems like Jax is going to have to do a lot to get her back, and let's be real, I don't think that Jax is really capable of doing any of this, let alone changing it all. Us asked, "What are you hoping to see from Jax moving forward?" She said, "The fighting has to stop. We were just constantly digging at each other. We got to that point, which I think a lot of marriages go through, where everything that the other person does is getting on your nerves. That's a horrible feeling and a horrible way to live. That's one of the main reasons I knew we needed space from each other. Have you and Jax talked about seeing other people?" Here and there. We act like it would be okay, but I'm not sure. I think he'd freak out if he saw me with a man. I'd be upset too. You can get over those things, but the first one might be strange. I definitely think that if either one of them started dating during this time, shit would absolutely hit the fan. I do not think that Jax would in any way be okay with it. And if I saw Jax dating another woman right now, he would absolutely be dead to me. I can't imagine how Brittany would feel if she saw that. So from the looks of it, there was actually no cheating involved in Jax and Brittany's split, even though we all thought that that definitely had something to do with it. I mean, based on Jax's past, it definitely seemed like infidelity was one of the causes of their relationship issues. But I don't know, to Brittany, it just kind of seems like Jax continued to just be Jax. He doesn't care about her, he only thinks about himself, and definitely being on the show and opening up the bar probably caused a lot more issues in their marriage than they had before. So I don't know, I mean, we've seen the demise of pretty much every couple on Vanderpump Rules, and now we're seeing it with Jax and Brittany. I just don't think that reality TV is healthy for couples, especially at this point in their lives when they're so young. They're just getting married. They're starting their lives together. I just don't think it's a good idea. But unfortunately, we all love to watch it anyway. So I don't really think that things are going to change. However, I do wish the best for Brittany and Jax. And the best for Brittany is honestly probably leaving Jax behind. So I do wonder where this is all going to go. Do you think that Jax and Brittany are going to get back together? Do you think that they are going to get a divorce? How will this play out on the Valley next season? So let's just say I'm invested, to say the least, to see what ends up happening between these two. There is definitely more news to come, so make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss any more Bravo breaking news.